Hi there, my name is Rob Harvey and I'm a solutions consultant at Sidetrade. Today I'm going to give you a quick overview of Sidetrade Financials, sharing with you the day in the life of a cash collector. But first of all, let's explore what is Sidetrade Financials. Every day, information is passed from your accounting platform or CRM into the Sidetrade cloud. Here, in a secure, safe, stable environment, all of your data is consolidated, segmented and enriched with predictive KPIs and information about your customers' payment behaviors. The goal of this is to drive as much cash into the business in the most effective manner. We do this by helping teams to prioritize their daily workload, reducing potential credit risk, accelerating the resolution of disputes, and providing some real-time visibility into the performance. Once the data arrives, it's segmented automatically using numerous amounts of parameters and data. We can segment data so that we can drive collection strategies. So collection strategies are based upon the actual payment behavior that your customer is having. In this example, we're looking at 3 different types of strategy. Here we look at slow paying customers, and these customers require a regular follow-up. We're trying to touch them early on in the process, here at -5 days, and then call them as soon as possible to try and obtain payment. We're also looking at a VIP collection strategy. These customers are really important to our business, and so therefore we want to make sure we phone them 7 days prior to the due date, following up by a visit internally to the accounts team, and then following up with a series of actions. The last strategy we're going to talk about is something we call Amy Managed. Amy is the AI that lives within Sidetrade and is your assistant to help you drive and manage your daily work. Amy will not only pick the best actions most likely to end in a success, i.e. a promise of payment, but will also have a look to see the existing workload of your teams so that you can ensure that your teams are not overloaded with too much work to do on any given day. Let's jump into the product and see how that works. So inside Sidetrade, here I'm looking at segmentation, and we can see that I've configured different types of groups that represent different conditions that the account might be in. For example, I've decided to say where an account has an email address and the balance is of certain value, allow Amy to manage that particular group. However, where accounts have got a risk rating, in this case of C or D, make sure we apply a workflow so that we can guarantee a follow-up is taking place regardless of the number of resources we have. I can have a limited number of groups configured within my setup, and all of this configuration is performed directly in the platform by the administrator. The workflow is very simple to quickly define the types of steps that you want to perform. Let's say, for example, I want to look at my key accounts. I can see that I've configured a workflow to make sure that they have a letter 10 days before due date, and I can add as many actions as I want within this sequence. I mentioned Amy and how she uses data to drive not only activity but also insight into the customer's payment behavior. So let's have a look at what sort of data Amy's reading in order to build these segments. If I look at a customer's account, we can see here all of the data that's passed over from the ERP. But this data has been enriched somewhat with different predictive insights. In this case, we can understand what the average days to pay are for a particular customer, and then look within the Sidetrade cloud at all of the customers that share that same buyer-supplier relationship. In this case, Amy's predicted that the best possible payment terms you could receive from this customer is 30, made up of 27 days of terms and a 3-day delay. This is quite a considerable improvement based on the current performance that you're getting. Another insight that Amy uses is something called the payment window. In the payment window, we're able to look at all of the different payments received across Sidetrade's customer, supplier, buyer relationships. It's around 6 million different interactions that are happening on a daily basis. And we use those interactions to then predict when customers are likely to settle. In this case, for this particular buyer, we can see that they're more likely to settle their invoices around the 21st or the 22nd of the month. And that's based on 22 invoices we've seen being paid last month. So this is really insightful information because when it comes to planning activity, it means that I won't make sense to plan any activities just after this date, because the chances are I've missed the main payment run that this customer could make, and that activity would be wasted. Other types of indicators I can use are all at my disposal, and for every customer we store all of the main information and KPIs around DSO, reporting, the turnover, plus any charges that could be applied to the customer for late payment. Sidetrade's financial CRM allows you to be able to centralize all of your communication and information about a customer. Organized over several tabs, this information is easily accessible by any users. One of the types of things that customers often want to centralize are inbound and outbound email flows. All of those are captured automatically by Amy, the AI assistant. Let's have a look at how it works. If I click on this tab for digital cases, I can see emails that this customer has been sending in. We can see the subject line of the email and, more importantly, who it's been assigned to and the category in which it's being managed under. This is important information because anyone who has access to the account can now understand in progress is a customer service request about this customer's payment issues. And if I click into here, I'll be able to display that email directly within the platform, reply to it or forward it, or add any additional notes or comments to that email chain, thus centralizing all of the communication flow for the customer. But as I said, the main focus of this job for the collector is in fact to make collection activity. And Sidetrade's organized all of this in an easy to manage collections to-do list. Let's have a look at how that works. When the collector logs in the morning, they access their list where they're taken directly to all of the activities that have been planned. If I connect here as a specific credit controller, let's say Ivan, we'll be able to see that his workload for the day is 56 actions. Those actions originate from a variety of different sources. We have Amy or AI predicted actions, such as phone calls and letters that are recommended to be sent, as well as some actions that could come from workflow, which are more traditional actions based around rules. In this case, 5 actions to call different customers. The credit controller is able to prioritize all of their activity using the filters and by sorting on columns based on what they need to focus on. For example, focus on the highest value overdue debt, or focus on the customers with the highest number of late days. When I come to process an activity, it's very simple. I simply click into the customer that I wish to contact, view the details of that account and who I need to call, review past activities with regards to the invoice, seeing the last payments, the current outstanding balance, and the qualification, as well as looking at any historical notes about previous collection. We can see here that Amy's helping to try to predict when this customer will settle. This one's proposed to settle here on the 24th of March, which coincidentally is when the action's been raised. So Amy's predicted something well. So we call the customer up and we're able to capture the outcome of that call directly within the Sidetrade system. Let's see how that works. Say, for example, I called this customer up and they told me that they were going to settle the account by remitting payment today. I'm able to simply select the invoice to be updated, qualify the item as promise of payment, and select from a configurable drop-down of options and a payment date. Automatically, Sidetrade plans a follow-up action, in this case, a promise to payment follow-up, that will help to follow up when the invoice gets paid. So I don't need to do anything else other than to save and end this particular action. At that point, I'm taken back to my to-do list. Of course, not all collection actions end in payments. Sometimes they ask for different information, like copy bills, and sometimes there's disputes. Regardless of the outcome of the call, that information is going to be easy at hand for the credit controller. Let's see how that works. If I'm speaking to the customer about his outstanding balance and he asks for a copy invoice, directly from within the Sidetrade platform, I'm either able to display details of that particular invoice, providing them the information about it, or directly send a copy from the Sidetrade system. Well, if the customer's still on the phone, they may well raise a query or a dispute about that particular charge or invoice. I'm able to track that dispute and to update the status of the invoices in a few simple clicks. Let's see how that works. In this case, I'm going to place the whole account into dispute. And we can see that I have a configurable list of dispute codes that I can use in order to manage that. In this case, I'm going to say I have a delivery issue. Disputes need to be resolved normally by the customer care or the sales team responsible. And I'm able to assign this dispute directly to the person in charge. In this case, I'm going to say it's Melissa. In this box, I'm able to write details about the dispute, and if I choose to, set an escalation path to follow up on this particular dispute issue. Once sent, all emails are tracked automatically and stored within the customer's card, so you have a direct access at any time to see where the email is, whether it's been read, and whether it's been responded to. Finally, the last view I'll show is with regards to reporting and dashboards. Each user has a dedicated homepage where configurable KPIs can be placed concerning their current portfolio. In this case, aging balance, DSO, cash collection performance, dispute rate, and Sidetrade's payment history. All of that information can be accessed and drilled down upon to get further insight into the way that their portfolio is behaving. And that concludes this quick overview of a day in the life of a credit controller. Thanks for your attention.